All right, hello and welcome to the video. My name is Wade Smith, and this is a different topic that I like to discuss, which is how to win a debate with an atheist, or how to witness to or win a debate with an atheist. And by the way, you're virtually never going to have a real convert because the problem is not a matter of proof. Matter of fact, the Bible tells you that unbelievers are without an excuse because the evidence of God is plainly seen in the universe. And that's what I'm about to get to, a scientific fact that the evidence of creation is seen in the universe. Um, Now, I could talk about things like DNA evidence and information theory. I could talk about the second law of thermodynamics. Uh, I can prove that the first law of thermodynamics is false. All right. But I could talk about the second law of thermodynamics, which every evidence is that it is true. And the second law of thermodynamics, for first of all, forbids heat from moving from a cold sink back to a warm sink without a machine doing extra work to get that done. And then you produce even more heat and more entropy in the process. All right. It's what the second law of thermodynamics is about. Uh, And also, because of that, systems do not on their own evolve from less advanced to more advanced without something pushing and designing that development. But I could talk about all of those things, but that's not the best argument for the existence of God, even as good as the entropy argument is. Uh, because according to the second law of thermodynamics, also for every reaction, the entropy of the entire universe increases. The universe went from a condition of zero entropy at its very beginning to a condition of maximal entropy at the end of its life. It will be at a condition of maximal entropy where no further work can be done in the universe. All right. But that's not the best argument for God's existence either, as strong as that is. That the beginning of the universe was a perfectly entropy free condition. All right. The best argument, in my view, is that the laws of the universe are all mathematical constructs which are perfect and are maximized. They are always turned on fully and they are never turned off. All right. And they are logically derived mathematical laws. And in this case, we know that they follow the inverse squared law of forces, the mathematics of the inverse squared law of forces. All right. Um, and so they are maximized and always turned fully on, and they're never half baked, as it were. All right. So, so just a few minutes ago, I saw a video by an atheist. You know, because he's a regular atheist debater. I've known about him for several years now, and he thinks he knows everything, and he knows next to nothing, to be honest with you. But, and I'm not going to use his name, but some people might already know who I'm talking about. And he was trying to claim that there's no designer, as usual, in atheist argument, and that everything's an accident. And I was like, if everything is an accident, why does the universe have perfectly maximized laws that are logically derivable? Um, if the universe was an accident, either there should be no laws or the laws should be half baked and randomly on and off again, and this kind of thing. There should be no law and order in the first place, or it should be random chaos or half-assed, if you want to, pardon my language. Um, I said, but because the laws always work and they are logically derivable and maximized, that proves that they were created, that there's an intelligent purpose to those laws and they're always on. And I think that that is one of the strongest physical evidences, besides personal conviction and answering of prayer, or even stronger personal conviction evidences. But in terms of physical evidence that I can prove to an atheist, that's got to be the strongest argument I've ever come up with. Is simply that the laws of physics are maximized and logically derivable. They're not chaotic and they're not random accidents. All right, I think 5 minutes is all I need to give to this topic. And for parents who have kids in school, because schools are by and large controlled by the liberal atheist party in this country, if you have kids in school, you need to understand that they are being brainwashed and indoctrinated into an atheistic ideology on a daily basis in public schools. All right. I know because I went to a public school all of my life when I was a kid, and it was already that way then, and it's even worse now. You need to understand that they are brainwashed and indoctrinated into demonic forces such as the LGBTQ movement and atheism in general, which most LGBTQs are atheists anyway because they reject God's commandments. Therefore, they reject God Himself ultimately. They might not admit it right away, but if ultimately they are rejecting God's commandments, and by rejecting God's commandments, they are in fact rejecting God Himself. But the atheist agenda is in everything that is taught in high school, and it really starts as early as the third grade in public schools. So you need to, as a parent, teach your children how to argue for the true creator God and creation as a real and scientifically provable and valid principle. Don't just be, it's one thing to quote the Bible because you want to quote the Bible, but you need a better argument tool in the real world than just quoting the Bible. Because I can quote some things in the Bible that I don't agree with and that I'm pretty sure are false, and they're in the Bible. So know something more than just quoting the Bible to somebody, because when you quote the Bible to an atheist, the only thing they're going to do is call you a religious troll. You're not going to get anything done. For you Christians, the scripture tells you you're supposed to contend for the faith. And that doesn't necessarily mean on a daily basis, but it does mean that from time to time, someone's going to be in your life that you need to have a rational argument with. I don't mean a fight or in that sense of the word argument. I mean a rational debate in the sense of that argumentation, apologetic argumentation with. And you are supposed to witness to that person through rational means, not just quoting Peter, James, and Paul, or not just quoting Jesus or whatever you believe in or claim to believe in, but a rational argument for why there is a true creator God who actually exists outside of space and time.